Hey guys, it is April 21st, 2018, and this is Olympia, Washington. It's our state capital, and there's going to be a rally here at noon, and that's just about 20 minutes from now or so, and it's a pro-gun rally. And the Facebook page has about 1,800 committed and almost 9,000 interested. So, should be interesting. We'll see what happens. It's going to be right on the steps of the Capitol building. I'm not sure there's going to be enough space there, but it should be cozy. So, let's go see what happens.
Way more people than I thought there was going to be. What is this? Yikes. It's like half the town's here.
I got a garden to till this afternoon, man. Big one, too. Big garden.
I got a pack.
Yo,
How you guys doing?
Good. How you doing?
Pretty good. Glad it's not raining.
Yeah, too.
Have a good day.
Anyway, I got a bunch of...
Alright, so looks like the driveway here. Cordoned off. So I'll head over this way.
God has a banner.
In Iraq, me and two of my buddies, we stood there with cones on our heads. That works too.
No, I didn't draw it.
Oh wait, black thing.
Where?
Right there, the black
Oh,
thing on
yep.
the sidewalk.
Got it. Thank you.
Right, that's not. I never heard That's funny as shit.
Got so many leg cramps. I'm old for it. Young people
Right.
crawl around.
Yeah.
You didn't crawl for a mile. I mean, we crawl for like.
Oh, yeah.
How you doing?
Good, how are you? Like your SIG there.
P226.
One of the best.
I love it.
Can I what? There, keep one. You did?
Yeah, we actually have one in the shop right now that the customer's waiting on his paperwork to come back. They'll be let people check it out. It's super nice.
How you guys doing?
Not too bad yourself?
Excellent.
Good.
My arms are already getting tired though.
Oh,
Oh yeah. My shoulders are not happy with me today.
Give me 3 hours.
Oh yeah.
How are you doing?
Nice,
Who
nice.
are you guys with?
Private sector arms.
What is it?
Private Sector Arms.
Okay.
We're a gun shop here in Olympia, Washington.
Oh, outstanding.
Yeah, right there
All
on
right.
off of Harrison, right next to Baskin and Robbins.
I have no idea where that is. I live in Tacoma, so I'm not,
okay.
not real familiar with
Nice.
Olympia.
Yeah, we're a local family-owned gun shop. We're the only one other than big box stores like Big Five and stuff like that. We're the only one within the city limits of Olympia.
Okay. Outstanding.
Been there for 4 years now. So,
Okay.
Well, actually, it'll be 4 years in July.
Okay.
Where did Olympic Arms move to? Are they?
They're still there.
They're still in Nisqually.
They haven't moved yet.
Oh, okay, good.
But
Speaking of an Olympic arms,
Well,
That's an OA 93.
OA 93 Olympic arms.
there you go.
I love this
Well,
thing.
that's good. I'm glad to see that they're sticking around.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see.
Well, I look at it this way. I mean, well, a lot of guys are buying printers. Let's face it.
Yeah.
You can't really-
So you're saying the existence of Olympic arms is up in the air?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I've
A couple
bought
years
some
ago,
stuff from
they
them
were
before.
unsure whether or not they would even keep the doors open
Why is that?
because they were going belly up. Just
Okay.
the industry wasn't what it was.
Right.
It used to be there were like 4 major manufacturers of ARs, and they were one of them. And now everybody and their brother can order like 80% offline and then
Build
mail
them
them out.
themselves.
Yeah.
So,
Blame that one on the government.
yeah. Right?
You know,
And
it's,
then just with the way technology's gone, the ability to start your own FFL and make using like a 20, like if you can get $30,000, you can start manufacturing ARs. You can you get a $20,000 milling machine, you throw the block of aluminum in there, the other 10Ks to get your federal firearms license, manufacturing license.
Yeah.
And then you can start making them yourself. And then you can sell them where that's just the strip lower. And so because of that, the industry became flooded. And they're a really high quality manufacturer. So they have a particular niche that it used to be everybody would want an Olympic. Now it's lessening
Whatever.
and lessening, yeah. And then they were known for doing very radical ideas, like the OA 93. They completely removed the butt stock from an AR, even the buffer tube assembly.
I was going to say they magically did something with the buffer tube.
And now it's right here.
Yeah.
And
So it's exactly like a mainspring on a pistol.
yeah, so it's like a
What that
mainspring,
arms
just
right
like your
there,
pistol,
so
guide
you
rod
rack it.
mainspring.
Or like an AK-47?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
similar
but it's not a
to that.
piston.
Yeah. So it's still got a bolt.
But you got that spring up on top
Yeah.
there.
Yeah,
So that
yep.
way it keeps it forward. It's just like a mainspring on a standard handgun.
So
Yep.
it makes you feel a little bad for Olympic,
But, yeah.
on the other hand, it's the free market at work, and
Oh, yeah.
we probably
Yeah.
all end up with more innovative products and more options.
Well, and I don't see
Exactly.
them dying.
Better
I see
prices.
what I see happening is they'll get to the point where here in Washington they aren't able to do what they're doing because of taxes and stuff like that, and they'll sell to another company and they'll get moved to a place like Texas or something, and they'll completely radicalize them, kind of like what Zev Industries did with Mega Machines.
So a clever businessman will make adjustments and adjust
And
the
now
market.
Zev is actually we know a couple guys that work at Zev,
They
and
make like the block
Glock,
slides and
yep,
stuff like
yep.
that.
They're actually going to go back and start doing legacy Mega Machine stuff. So they're going to start re-rolling out all of the Mega Machines uppers and lowers again.
Did something happen to Mega?
Mega got bought out by Zev,
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
and basically they closed down the Mega name, stopped manufacturing all of the Mega parts, and it just became another extension of Zev.
So I got a couple AR-10s built on Mega's receivers.
Uh-huh,
They're
yeah.
awesome stuff.
Yeah,
Nice.
and that's what they're talking about doing is re-rolling out that stuff.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey, well, thanks for bringing me up to speed on the local
Oh, yeah.
market.
Yeah.
Oh
you,
yeah.
Dave.
You
You too.
Thanks. How you doing?
How you doing? Doing great. You could have one of your own if you'd like.
Maybe later in the day. I get my hands full with this thing.
Sure.
Thanks.
I like your stabilizer.
Thanks.
Very nice.
not just for us, but for the future generations to protect our rights, to protect ourselves and our families. So we have Arya Road coming up here for the Pledge of Allegiance, and he has a short speech. Thank you, guys.
First off, that was beautiful, and that gave me some chills. Okay. I'm going to ask that we all stand and take off our hats and flag salute. United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hi, my name is Arya Road. First off, I'd like to thank our service members, be it military, firefighters, police officers, EMTs, and any other public volunteers. We should all remember that we are all caretakers of the Constitution. Today we are coming together because we, as like-minded Americans, we don't fall into place. There are people that would like to see people like us behind bars, just because we believe in liberty as the individual. To anyone who is pushing for gun reform, they are unfortunately misguided, because the only way to enforce this is by using guns themselves, which will enact another civil war, much worse than the civil war we had in 1861, killing 620,000 people. Today and every day after today, we can prevent this from happening if we speak up and make a stand, while making our voices heard, even if they don't want to listen. I've spoken out on my beliefs in many ways, like Facebook, and town hall meetings. Saturday night, I labeled me as a racist, desensitized, gun crazy, and persecuted. And many others. And I don't know when to stop. I'm pretty sure about that. And what else is next? Everyone is like, there's no more results to be given. Since I started speaking up in my community, many people have come to me and thanked me for standing for their rights. Almost everyone who was standing with me almost told me the exact same story. They used to be like all of us here. They stood up and they spoke up for their rights.
We live in a country today where we literally protect money trucks, we protect banks, we protect politicians and celebrities with guns, but we protect our children with signs. That means we got a problem in this country. We got a moral problem. My name is Joey Gibson. I'm the founder of Patriot Prayer. And yes, now I'm officially candidate for the United States Senate. I think we got some Proud Boys in the crowd here today. Listen, one of the biggest complaints I get about Patriot Prayer on the left or the right, they say that we're just running around, we're antagonizing the big cities. I will tell you exactly why people have that perception. Because today, in this country, if you want to go out on the streets and you want to stand up for what is right and you refuse to bend a knee, you refuse. If you go and declare that God is real and declare that freedom is one of the most important things that you have in this country, you're going to get some real pushback. Real pushback. And Antifa is just the bottom of the pyramid. It's in coordination with politicians, Nancy Pelosi, the mainstream media, local mayors, city council members, and even some police chiefs. They work in coordination to make your life as miserable as possible. They will slander your name and do whatever they can to get you to just quit, to just give up, to just go back in your house. Go back in your house and keep your mouth shut. See, this is the thing. And we refuse to bend a knee. When we see that something is wrong, we see it in the city, we are going to go and we are going to antagonize and we are going to push back, because it is time for those who believe in freedom to be more aggressive. We can no longer sit at home. No more. Listen, here's why I believe Patriot Prayer got so much pushback, because we were preaching about God, we're preaching about freedom. And they don't want you to think about freedom, they don't want you to think about God, they want you to think about your skin color, your gender, your sexuality. They want you to think about anything and everything other than what is inside here. What is inside here? Because guys, we got to begin to look inside, look into your heart, and begin to think about who you really are. You got to let go of what the world thinks of you, because the world wants you to believe that you're stupid. The world wants you to believe that you're insignificant. The world wants you to believe that your voice is too small, so you might as well keep it shut. But when we begin to look inside, in this world that's so busy, the social media, the phones, the TV, when you begin to really look inside and think about who you are and how God built you, your identity, the talents that you have, you begin to grow, okay? I've seen it personally, I've seen it with other people. You begin to grow and you begin to build a power within you that gets bigger and stronger. And it gets so big to the point where it can no longer contain within you, and it will begin to influence the people around you. It will change the world around you. Because the people at the top, listen, the people at the top who are comfortable, the people at the top who want to take your rifles, they are comfortable and they are afraid of those who are spiritually empowered. They're afraid. They don't want that. They want you to be dumb and slow. They don't want you to be spiritually empowered. And there's several people in this crowd here today who are spiritually empowered. But it's those who are spiritually empowered, those are the ones who will start a revolution. Those are the ones who, they sure as hell, they will finish a revolution. These are the people, throughout the history of this world, we've had these spiritually empowered people. They have taken down some of those powerful empires in the history of this world, peacefully, non-violently, sometimes violently. I mean, sometimes you got to do that, but for the most part, and this is what I'm making this call, and I'm going to talk about this for the rest of the year, for the rest of my life. Screw the campaign, okay? I am going to consistently ask that we begin to look at this empire above us and we begin to take it down peacefully and non-violently. Because I'm done. We have an empire above us that wants to brainwash you, that wants to consistently steal from you, steal from your family, take from your community, one law after another. They will do whatever they can to increase their powers. They will brainwash our youth to go out to march, to give up their own God-given rights. It is out of control, okay? I believe one way we take down this huge empire peacefully and non-violently, we have to have a revolution. It is a revolution of thought. It's a revolution of heart, a revolution of culture. And one way that we can do that, here's one way. We got, guys, listen, we have to begin to support the truth tellers. We got to back them. We got to support them. Today they're called controversial figures, so it's not easy. But we got to surround ourselves, support them, and hold them up, because it is not easy to speak the truth today in this era of deception. Okay, listen, it's very hard. Trust me. Okay, and when we begin to support those who speak the truth, we will stop sending politicians. We will stop supporting politicians who go to D.C., who go to Olympia, and who are too afraid to speak the truth because they don't want to lose votes. They're too afraid to stand up for what is right because they want to be politically correct. We have too many politicians that take polls to see what the people want to hear. We don't need politicians to tell the people what they want to hear. That's not what we need. We need leaders who will tell the people what they need to hear, and unafraid and unapologetic. One of the ways that I want to participate in this revolution that we're having, and the West Coast, the Pacific Northwest, is I want to do everything within my power to preach freedom first. Freedom first. It's got to come back to our culture. We got to bring it back to the youth. We have to begin to talk about freedom as much as we possibly can, because the people at the top, they hate it. When you put freedom first, you put freedom to the front of the line, it brings clarity into your mind, into your heart. With every single policy question, you ask yourself, does this increase our freedoms or decrease our freedoms? Because listen, we don't have to have less freedoms. We need more freedoms in this country. That's right. We do not need more gun laws. We need less gun laws in this country. Okay? Now, one of the things about freedom, okay, I talked about this last week. The essence of freedom, the spirit of freedom, the foundation of freedom is the God-given right to be able to protect freedom, to be able to protect your country, to be able to protect your family with the Second Amendment. It is something, okay, here's what I believe. There's certain rights that I do believe, they don't come from this country, they don't come from the Constitution, they don't come from other people, they don't come from this world. They come from God, ladies and gentlemen. They come from God. Amen to that. One of the things that I believe that God wants, and I'm not speaking for God, this is what I believe. I believe that God wants a country where you can do and say, it's free will. You can do and say whatever you want, as long as you don't take away someone else's rights, as long as you don't hurt other people. Okay? See, the government is supposed to protect our rights. So you can't steal from people, you can't murder people. That's what the government is there for, to protect your liberties, not to take it away. Okay? One of the things, God gave us this right to be able to protect our freedoms, I believe. And for far too long, throughout the history of this world, humans have consistently given up our God-given right to protect their own country, and we cannot do it this time. We got to learn from history. Too many times, Mao, Stalin, Hitler, too many times we gave up our weapons, and look at what happened. Millions of people died, millions, okay? So I'm going to finish up with this. Japanese, okay, I'm Japanese. World War II, pre-World War II, they crossed over to China, okay? The Chinese military failed to protect their people, okay? And the men could not protect the women and children, so the soldiers went through and they murdered and raped all the women, all the children, okay? So this is the thing. It's one of the worst things that ever happened. This is the thing. In our country, we can never allow that to happen. We got to do everything within our power to protect the right to own and carry a rifle. Because if any foreign ground troops take one step on this country, we will protect our households. We will protect our women, our children. We will protect this country with our own blood. We will never, ever allow that to happen in this country. The question is, at what point are we going to stand up? Those who believe in freedom, at what point have you said enough is enough? Because every single year they push and push and push. Now it is time for us to take a stand, to refuse all this agenda that they're pushing on us, and really bring freedom back to the Pacific Northwest. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Someone once said that the revolution will not be televised, and we are not fitting the mainstream media's agenda of what they want. So yesterday, King 5, when they asked me questions, they didn't ask me anything about my event. They didn't ask what time it was, who was speaking. It was all politically motivated, set up questions. The last question she asked was, how do I think the midterms are going to go? I said, we're coming, and we're coming in numbers. So they better get ready for that. Okay, so we got Tyler Miller. He's going to be speaking. He has an initiative, 1621. He is a Navy veteran. Here we go.
Thanks. How is everyone doing today? You all heard about Initiative 1621? All right, well, let me give you just a quick rundown for those who haven't. Initiative 1621 is about choice. It's about expanding school security and flexibility in that choice. Right now, it is illegal for any of you to go on school grounds with your firearm, whether it's open carry or concealed carry. It's illegal for teachers, it's illegal for staff, it's illegal for parents. We need to change that. Why do we need to change that? We need to change it so that we have flexibility and choice. I came up with Initiative 1621 because my girls go to a small Christian school. We have 6 classrooms, all right? Our needs are significantly different than Bremerton High School in terms of security. We had a lady who does our janitorial service. She approached our school board and asked, can I carry my firearm from my car into the school late at night when there's some shady characters hanging around so I can feel more protected? We had to look back at her and say, no, you can't. We can't give you that permission. How wrong is that? All right? We need to have Initiative 1621, not so that we can create a private security force of private individuals. We do not need Initiative 1621 so that we can force teachers to become armed and be our security personnel. We need 1621 so that people can have the choice in a life and death situation to be equipped with the best possible tool available to them to defend themselves and our kids. Now, there's been a lot of questions, a lot of criticism about the language of how I wrote the initiative and why I chose certain language and have certain things. Let me address a couple of those. Number one, I do give school districts the ability to say, if you're going to be an employee at the school and you want to carry a firearm, we want you to have a minimum level of safety training. Safety training. This isn't about marksmanship, this isn't about proficiency, although those would be great to have too. This is about, can you carry your weapon and handle your weapon safely around our kids so that another student can't get a hold of it, so that no one but you can get a hold of it. That's a reasonable and prudent measure. The other side doesn't see that. All they see is, you want to arm our teachers. I'm saying, no, I want to compromise. I want to find a way to protect our kids. I want to find a way that we can find a short-term solution to a very massive problem out there. You know, when a fire is burning down your house, you don't sit there and go, gee, I wonder how we can stop this from happening again. You grab the damn fire extinguisher, don't you? You protect yourself. Now, just because you have a fire extinguisher, does that mean that you don't have a smoke alarm? Does that mean you don't have an evacuation plan? Does that mean that you don't do other things to protect you? No, this is one thing. This is a solution, not the solution. But if we don't get Initiative 1621 on the ballot, then that other group that you may have heard about yesterday in Seattle, what is it, Alliance for Gun Confiscation or something like that? They're pushing that initiative. Did you hear about it? Yeah! They want to prevent everyone here from carrying a firearm. Read through it. Read through it. You'd like it. Yeah. Do you think that they have the ability to get that initiative on the ballot tomorrow? Yeah. Yeah, they do. You know why? Because they're going to go out and they're going to get the signatures. They're going to go out and pay for the signatures.
They're crooked.
I've spent about $200 of my own money setting up a website, printing off a couple posters, and printing off some flyers. I need all of you to get these petitions. You can go to the website, carry1621.org, print them off, get the signatures. We need 259,000 to get on the ballot. If we don't get this help, if you don't stand up and take a proactive stance in this election, we might lose the whole thing. We're there, guys. We are there. If we do not protect our rights now, we are in real danger of losing them. Please come by, sign the petition. I know some other people have it at their booths as well. Pick up a couple copies from me. Take them around. Take them to your family. Take them to your friends. Take them to your places of business. Harass people. Well, don't harass people. You know, strongly encourage people. Volunteer, donate, and help get Initiative 1621 on the ballot. Thanks, everyone.
Man, I'm loving this right now. All my countrymen right here on the steps, ready to defend freedom. You guys give me chills. You guys complete me. So next, we got Sharon Hinchcliffe from the Seattle Pink Pistols. Boy, she's a firecracker, and I'm telling you, she's ready to take it to these legislators and these gun grabbers. So here you go.
My name is Sharon Hinchcliffe. I am one of the administrators for Seattle Tacoma Pink Pistols. It is the LGBT community that is for the Second Amendment. I am also a member of the Western Washington National African American Gun Association. It is here. It is time for Inslee and Ferguson to stop with the encroachment on civil rights. Because that is exactly what this is. Because my father was one of the FBI agents who arrested the Klan members who bombed the Leland Shady Grove Baptist Church in 1964 outside of Atlanta, Georgia. We will not stand for any removal of a civil right. When Senator Peterson tells me that it's acceptable for young men and women who are 18 to 20 to not be able to defend themselves with a firearm, that he said it was perfectly acceptable during the precinct meeting at District 45 in downtown Seattle and Capitol Hill. It is time for everybody to stand up and work together. We will stop the initiative that just came through that is a violation of the Fourth Amendment. Thank you.
So next, we have Tiffany De Leon from the Libertarian Party. She's the state vice chair. And as you can see, she is all about freedom. There you go.
In 2010, I drove down here for Bremerton. They had a tax day here. My favorite radio talk show host, Dory Monson, was the keynote speaker. It was literally like right here. So I drove down all by myself. I didn't have any like-minded friends. I was not on social media. And I showed up, cloudy day in the fog, and got extremely uncomfortable. It was very politically charged. I started hiding behind people, and then I left. Fast forward a few years, and now I am getting attention and trying to do as much as I can to get attention to the cause of freedom. I'm not scared anymore. As Alan said, my name is Tiffany Diaz de Leon. I'm the Vice Chair of the Libertarian Party of Washington State. I'm the founder of the Libertarian Party of Kitsap County. I'm here representing a lot of different people and concepts under the Liberty umbrella. The flower on my hat stands for peace, LGBTQ community, Black culture, youth. But it doesn't matter what race we are or how much money we make, because rights are innate and for every American. People often say, and this is not specific to our generation, though I do think it's at a high right now, that we have to fix societies, fix communities. And they want to do that with more reform and more government and more taxes. And that is not how you're going to fix anything. And like what was said earlier, just leave people alone. Libertarians have a saying, don't hurt people and don't take their stuff. So a newsflash to any politicians or friends or anyone, guns falls under stuff. Don't take people's guns, and so does ammunition. All guns fall under people's stuff. Libertarians also get a hard time. It's hard for us to win elections. We're the radical ones that want to legalize everything. But I'll tell you one thing that we will never do, and we will never take your stuff. We will never take the right to defend yourself and your family. 4 words shall not be infringed is not gray, it's not ish, it is. Obama once said, there is not a liberal America or a conservative America, there is just the United States of America. Well, I know Obama is past tense, but I can put that into 2 words. Liberty versus tyranny. So in closing, if your friends or your family or your Facebook friends or your politicians didn't get the memo, freedom, liberty, and rights are back in style, and they're here to stay. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Next, we have David Bryan. He's running for the U.S. Senate. So, thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm Dave Bryan. I'm running for the U.S. Senate against Maria Cantwell this fall. And my reason for running is because you need, all of us need, people in the Senate that are going to fight for your rights, fight for what is guaranteed by the Constitution, and fight to the death to make sure that these things are not taken away from you. There are obviously very dangerous trends in the United States now, people that think it is good to take those rights away because it might be a way to protect children. Getting to the Florida disaster that happened recently, that 100% was not because of guns. It was because of failed policies, that people are thinking that they can throw things that police that are trained to do law enforcement, they can put those things into schools and expect school teachers and principals and counselors to enforce laws. If that had been handled properly, none of it would have happened. That is the type of approach that I will take as we look at these laws in the Senate, protecting rights, protecting freedoms, the things that have made us the greatest country in the world and will continue us as the greatest country in the world if I have any say in it. There's been talk today about preventing government from taking over, taking control of your life, doing things that we would never expect to happen in the United States of America. And I would hope that would never happen, that we would never lose those freedoms. But not too many years ago, in Egypt, a very modern country, they had all of their rights taken away from them. Actually surprised an amazing number of people, and it was because of an uninvolved electorate. They allowed 10% of the Muslim Brotherhood, represent about 10%, to go and take over the polls, take over the election, take over the government, and then immediately start closing any Christian churches. Of course, we all believe that that could not happen in the United States. But it happened there, and the people there, the shopkeepers, the middle class, people exactly like you, thought that could never happen in their country. And it did. And those people that didn't participate in the original throwing out of their repressive president, those were the people that then, again, people just like you, had to fight and overthrow the government to reinstate a democratic government in the country. And so again, that's something that we, all of us, need to guard against. Continuously, we have to maintain our guard, and I will be your representative. So vote for me, U.S. Senate. Go out and vote in the primary in August, and then vote for me for Senate against Maria Cantwell in November. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next we have Robert Sutherland from the 39th. He was a past House candidate, and he's a retired biochemist. Robert.
Hey guys, how are you doing? I'm the only speaker today that can say this. There were 11, you've just stood through 11 speakers. I'm the 12th man. I'm Robert J. Sutherland. I'm an Air Force veteran. I salute all my military brothers. I graduated from Gonzaga University in Spokane with a degree in biochemistry. I researched DNA and developed cancer therapies my whole career out here in the Puget Sound. I'm not a politician. I'm an angry citizen. And while I'll gladly and fully admit that I am no Albert Einstein, just because I'm a scientist, I'm no Albert Einstein, but at least I'm no Jay Inslee. Governor, shame on you. And shame on all the legislators that write and pass these bills and the laws that they don't back up and support our rights. They degrade and take away our rights. Shame on you guys. And that is why we are here today, isn't it? We are here to send the message to these politicians that don't know the first thing about protecting our rights, that we are not going to take it anymore. You can write the laws, you can pass them, but you need to understand one thing. A law that is not in harmony with the Constitution is no law at all, and we will not comply. Let me quote some Constitution for you. Article 6. This Constitution and the laws of the United States, which shall be made in pursuance thereof, shall be the supreme law of the land. Anything in the Constitution or laws of any state, to the contrary, notwithstanding. Any and all laws that are not in pursuance or in harmony with the U.S. Constitution is notwithstanding. They are null and void. They're illegal. We are not under any obligation to adopt, follow, obey, or practice such laws. We will not bend our knee, Mr. Governor. We will not sit down. We will not remain silent any longer. We will not cower in fear. Together, you guys, we will not comply. Let me quote some more, will you? Bear with me. The Second Amendment states, a well-regulated militia being necessary for the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
Absolutely.
What did the founders and the framers of the Constitution mean by arms? They're trying to confuse that issue, aren't they? To understand the exact meaning of the word arms, let's talk about the militia, because it'll define the role of the militia, and that'll tell us what arms they were talking about. Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution. Congress shall have the power to lay and collect taxes. Why? To raise and support armies, to provide and maintain a navy, to provide for calling forth the militia. They're supposed to pay for us, guys. I'll continue. The militia. Number one, and it defines the role of the militia now. Number one, to execute the laws of the Union, suppress insurrections, and repel invasions. We need sufficient arms to repel invasions. When they wrote this, the British Army had it was a very real possibility the British Army, they could send their Navy back over and defeat our Navy, defeat our Army, but our framers were wise enough to say, you can beat our armies, but good luck defeating the people. Good luck with that, King George. Well, what about today, though? It's a different world, they say. We have all our modern aircraft carriers, nuclear submarines, and the like, right? Has the mission of the militia changed? Not one bit. The mission of the militia remains the same, to repel invasions. In 1941, the Japanese came over, they took out our Pacific Fleet. They could have invaded the mainland. Why didn't they? We were armed. This is what the framers wrote down. This isn't my opinion. I didn't write it. This is what they wrote. It is the highest supreme law of the land. It is our right, it is our duty to once again secure these rights. But how do we do that? First thing we have to do is defeat these crooked politicians that are taking away our rights. That's the first thing we got to do.
And the teachers. And the damn teachers.
By the way, I guess it's a good enough time. What a great crowd we have. Let me make this next statement, will you? I'm Robert J. Sutherland, and I hereby announce my candidacy for state representative in the 39th Legislative District. I will bring our fight to Olympia. The second thing we need to do, we need to defeat these guys, but the second thing we need to do is this. We need to unite together. There is strength in numbers, you guys. You all know that, right? We know their MO. They single us out individually. Individuals or maybe a family at a time. Ruby Ridge, Waco, the Hammonds, the Bundys. The Hammonds are still in prison, by the way. And if you all were following what took place down a lonely highway in Oregon, Highway 395, Patriot American, rancher Robert Lavoie Finicum, hands in the air, shot 3 times in the back and killed. Justice for Lavoie! Justice for Lavoie. Long live Lavoie! We need to unite together in large numbers. I am currently in consultation with others, and we are exploring ways that we can do just that, gather thousands of concerned citizens into a single force. If they attack one of us, they need to know and understand they attack all of us. And we will unite and we will defend our rights. If they wish to create lists of gun owners and put us on a list, how would they like it if they themselves were put on a list? I'm not threatening anyone. If they send armed personnel to one of our doors, kick down the door at 4 in the morning because they feel we violated an unconstitutional law, they must know and understand that they are kicking down 1,000 doors of ours. 10,000 doors of ours, guys, maybe 100,000 doors of ours. We will unite and we will defend our rights. If we do not stand up for our rights, if we do not exercise our God-given rights to keep and bear arms, if we continue to let them water down and otherwise destroy our rights by 1,000 legislative cuts, the American dream is over, guys. Your kids and mine will forever be enslaved to these guys. We can't let that happen. Join with me. Pledge today, all of us, not on our watch. Not on our watch. One more time, let them hear it, Washington, D.C. Not on our watch. Thank you, you guys. Robert Sutherland, come visit me at my booth. I'd like to talk to you.
Next, we got Randy Van Addison. He's our Libertarian Motorcycle Club National President. And welcome up here.
How you doing today? It's rocking. So let me give you a little intro about myself. As my comrade over here, Alan Acosta, said, I'm the national president of Libertarians Motorcycle Club. I was a federal air marshal for 5 years working out of the Detroit field office. I was hired on right after 9/11, worked in the counterterrorism, and I had no idea what we were going to get hit with after 9/11, and that was the Patriot Act. And first I want to salute all our veterans out there. I was a veteran. I was active Army for 3 years. Give our brothers and sisters a big hoo-ah. Yeah, I like it. So I'm going to give a little kudos here to Tessa Ashley. Can you give her a round of applause? Thank you. Saluting her courage. And as she said, they don't tell her story. They don't want to tell that story. That runs counter to the program. And to my brothers in the Libertarians Motorcycle Club, Tessa and the Libertarians MC, they co-sponsored this event. Thanks, guys. This is awesome. As Alan said, it's chilling. I'm honored to share this with the legislators up here, and I see the battle in front of us. They're fighting in the legislature, they're fighting in the courts. I've heard the most absurd arguments, the most absurd bills. It makes me think. I got my master's in sociology at UT many years ago, and was talked out of doing my thesis on gun control for Chicago. Back then I was ignorant. I just saw something that didn't make sense to me. Started doing a little bit of digging. So I'm here today to talk to you about strategy, some tactics, and maybe giving you an angle that you hadn't thought of before, but we need to start thinking about. We need to start looking at this battle from different angles, and that's what I'm going to get into today. This is about perception, propaganda, and brainwashing. K through 12 education hasn't taught critical thinking, logic, and reasoning since the 50s. And people are wondering, what's up with that? What harm could that do us? Man, that does a lot of harm. Because as we die off and the next generations come up, these generations, K through 12, political correctness, indoctrination, critical thinking is everything. It's not hard to figure out why they took it out. I mean, can anybody here, there's probably some older people here that still remember what a false premise is? Right? Let me give you a couple I've heard in the last couple of weeks leading up to this event. Here's one that I heard in a coffee shop, and this is going to be a little offensive, but what I'm doing is presenting an invalid argument based on false premise. It goes something like this. Guns kill. Veterans were trained to use guns, therefore no veterans should be allowed to own guns. Right? I mean, is that a false premise or what, people? There you go. Paraphrase, but that was the general argument. I found it offensive as both an American citizen and a veteran. It's ridiculous. Now, the second one went viral on the internet. I'm sure most of you heard this. This was on Gun Owners of America's website. And I'm paraphrasing. I don't know exactly how she said this, but anyone who supports the Second Amendment doesn't care about the safety of our children. Right? Remember that, man? Totally. My sentiments, exactly. What do you say? And this came from a school teacher. We got to look at that angle, guys. We got to bring critical education, critical thinking, and reason and logic back into K through 12. And think about it. You've all heard, man. Now they want to reduce the voting age to 16. Why? Because these kids are ready to rock and roll, man. They are robots running off the assembly line. They have been indoctrinated. You can't indoctrinate kids unless you subtract critical thinking, logic, and reason. How does this happen? It allows for the hurting of society no matter what political party is in power at the time. The absence of critical thinking is nonpartisan. I have family and friends that support gun control and disarmament, and they're not happy I'm out here speaking to you all today. And I don't really care either. I love them. They're not dumb, they're not stupid, and they're only partially ignorant. How does it happen? This is our second battlefront. We got critical thinking we need to bring back into education. What's the other front? Mainstream media. A 2-year study by the Media Research concluded that mainstream media is overwhelmingly opposed to the Second Amendment. The ratio of anti-gun to pro-gun bias is now estimated at 20-1. So you're just getting hammered. Every time you turn on the TV, you're just getting hammered. The newspaper, day after day after day. How does that affect this discussion? Well, there's been quite a few studies done over the last few years regarding gun defense use. The numbers are all over the place, I won't lie. The Police Foundation, on a research grant from the National Institute of Justice, projected 4.7 million defensive gun uses a year in this country. That shocked me. I mean, that's a stunning number. Florida State criminologist Gary Kleck, he came up with 2.2 million. Lower end estimates, and this was at the bottom, right? David Hemingway, a professor of health and policy at Harvard School of Public Health, estimated 55,000 to 80,000 defensive gun uses a year. Yeah, well, you know what? I'll tell you what. I'll extend an olive branch going on critical thinking and logic. We're going to go with that low number. The lowest number that I got that even the left-wing zealots agree on, and I'm not sure saying left-wing is correct, but most of the time it is, 67,740 times a year. So we got 4.7 million to 67,740 times a year of defensive gun uses. That's a disparity. But let's take that low number. Let's extend an olive branch to them, and let's take the lowest number divided by 365 days a year, and I'll even round down, man. That is 185 prevented rapes, robberies, and murders every single day by brandishing or using a gun. Let's hear it. Let's hear it here, because we certainly don't hear it on the news, do we? And that's at the low end. So even if we can all agree this is the lowest possible acceptable number, why don't we hear it? Because this would seriously turn the tide of perception, wouldn't it?